Hi, I'm Peter Rose, founder of Longwood Currency Trading. I've made $1 million in my life, so you might want to listen to what I have to say. I don't say that to brag. It's a fact. I did it, and I had to work my ass off in order to do it. But I think you have to be forward with your successes in order for people to pay attention to what you say. And I've been getting some emails lately from folks in my videos, or from my videos, making comments on the videos and asking questions and all that. And there's a certain hesitancy in your ability to think that you can replicate what I've done in making money and being successful in currency trading. Being able to, I mean, who am I? You know, I'm just some talking head with a small subscriber count and a few views to each of the video. Why should you listen to me? Rather, you might want to listen to somebody who's driving around in a Lamborghini with his ball cap on backwards and got lucky at 200 to 1. That's your choice. Let me tell you how I made $1 million, and then we'll see who you want to maybe pay attention to. When I was in high school, my brother, who was 19 years older than I am, his best friend was an architect in Chicago by the name of Stanley Tigerman. And Stanley Tigerman, along with Ben Weiss, who I also knew, he was my brother's best friend. And so I met him a couple of times, and early in my high school career, I was thinking about what I was going to do with my life, because I wasn't interested in sports and a lot of the other things that kids my age were interested in. I was interested in science and the computer industry that was just kind of sort of out there. You could program it, but they were big and behind closed doors. I was interested in martial arts because I was weak and afraid, and I enjoyed sailing with my dad, and I was interested in somewhat of the financial markets, but I didn't have any direction in that quite yet. I had a lot of interests, and I could see that there was a big world out there. What was I going to do in it? How was I going to be a success in that world after I got out of high school and went into college? How was I going to find my life? And I asked Stanley if I could come down to his office and talk with him. Stanley joked with me. He said at the time, this was in the early 1960s, he was probably the most unbuilt architect in Chicago. And he took me through his office. It was filled with these beautiful models and things, and the creativeness that I saw there and the enthusiasm, it just mesmerized me. And so as I got into high school and had these questions in my own mind, I went to him because I respected him, and he was wealthy and respected. And he said, "Peter, what would you consider success? Would making $1 million be a success for you?" And oh yeah, sure it would. He goes, "Let me tell you something. Making $1 million isn't the tough part. Deciding what you want to do, what you're passionate about, what you're willing to devote 100% of your life force to, that's the hard part, making that decision." And I came away from that meeting and I thought, man, I'm screwed, because I'm interested in so many diverse things. As I mentioned, science and computers and self-defense and sailing and financial things and real estate, even though I didn't have any experience in a lot of that stuff. My mind was reading about things like that, and I go, how am I ever going to focus on that one thing? But I always remembered that, and I enjoyed mechanical drawing. I was taking a mechanical drawing course in high school, and so I called Stanley back up, and I go, you know, I'm really interested in this mechanical drawing and talking to you about architecture and stuff. I don't know that that's what I want to do, but I know that's the kind of environment that I'd like to be in, creative people. And so he sent me over to his friend Harry Weiss, whose brother Ben Weiss was whatever, but it was Harry Weiss and Associates was the name of the firm, one of the top architectural firms in Chicago. I got to talk to both Harry and Ben, and they hired me as an office boy. And so I'd spent that summer running around downtown Chicago delivering blueprints and running errands for the architects and all that sort of stuff. And they brought me back at Christmas time, and over vacations they bring me back and have me do stuff. And it was a great experience. The second summer, when I came back, I brought some of the mechanical drawing stuff that I had done and showed it to Ben Weiss. And I said, look, I enjoy the opportunity to do the office work, but look at what I can do. Is that the type of thing that would be good enough that you could give me some experience on that? Again, I'm searching for what I want to do. They did. They put me on the boards, sent me upstairs into the hot attic with a couple other the junior architects, and I was doing blow-up drawings from renderings, and I was doing parts lists on the blueprints, and I did that all summer. And I got to work with people that were successful and passionate about what they were doing, and I understood what Harry had told me, and also Stanley had told me. You have to do something that you're passionate about, that you really care about. And so when I got into college, I started out as a chem major. I didn't have the attention span for that, or the memory recall. I got into physics because you can derive everything. I went on and got my degree in physics and got introduced to computer programming when I got out. And I also got into karate right after I got into college. So I came out of college with a bachelor's degree in physics, almost a minor in math, a knowledge and understanding of computer programming, and I was a second degree black belt in karate. And so I moved out to New Hampshire to get into graduate school and found out that I wasn't quite cut out for the heavy-duty math that I was doing. That was my weaker area, and I had taken a course in mathematical physics, and I can't do that. And so I had to drop out of graduate school, and the only other thing I knew was martial arts, karate. So I opened a karate school, and I did that for many years and was very successful doing that. And I took every penny that I had and saved it. Everything that was extra, I saved it. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do until one of my karate students, I found out he was a real estate broker. He started talking to me about that. I used to go down to his office. I spent so much time down there, they kidded me. They were going to have to give me a W-2 for unpaid time that I was there because I was obsessed with learning about real estate. And I bought my first house from that real estate broker, and I decided I needed to learn what he knew on the other side of the fence. What does the real estate broker know? Because I knew I wanted to do real estate. So I went and did all my studies. I took all the courses and stuff. I got a salesman's license in real estate, and went on to get a broker's license in real estate, and then went on to get my first mortgage and second mortgage broker's license, my main arranger or credit license, because I wanted to know the financial part of the real estate as well. So I understood the marketing and the sales and the brokerage of real estate, and I understood the financing part. And because I had owned a piece of property, I bought a 4-unit building shortly after that, I understood all the maintenance and all construction stuff because I had to hire that out because I didn't understand it. So I'd go down and try to fix a toilet, and I didn't do a very good job, so I'd hire a plumber to come in, but I was there to watch him. So I learned all that stuff, and I was passionate about it. And so by somewhere in the 1990s, I was a millionaire. And there was an economic crash, and I lost $1 million net worth. I was not leveraged very high. I was at 39%, so I didn't lose the assets, but I lost the net worth. I've lost $1 million twice in my life, and I've been able to make it back each time, but it took me 10 years each time because that wealth was in real estate. And so in working with my karate school and building that successfully, I had that money that I saved up, and that was my down payment money. And then eventually I got into computer programming as a career, and I spent 33 years as a software engineer. And as I said many times in my videos, I stayed with the real estate, and I did that for 40 years. And it wasn't my computer work that allowed me to retire a millionaire, it was my real estate. And so the advice that I always give to somebody is, great, get a job and have that pay for your life and start to build a foundation in your 401k, or if you don't have that, you should be doing index funds or whatever it is. That's the simplest thing, that you don't have to learn how to do that because you're busy learning how to do whatever career it is that you have. You want to offload that not onto brokers, but you want to manage that money. And it's a throw-off from your job. And then when you get enough of that money, then you need to invest that in things that are going to pay you money back, like real estate or trading cars or old tires and eventually for me, in 2007, I got interested in the currency markets. I had never seen anything as dramatically, potentially profitable and compelling as these markets are. Back then, they were only around $4 trillion a day. And today, this is July of 2023, they're 6.7 trillion, almost $7 trillion a day. They dwarf every other market. Why wouldn't you want to participate in it? Yes, the real estate market is gazillions and gazillions of dollars, trillions of dollars. Maybe the transactions are $100 billion a day. I mean, I don't know what the transactions are, but as a real estate agent, your time is limited to 8 hours a day, and only being able to sell so many properties or have as much money to invest in so many properties, there's a limiting factor. Where in the currency markets, it's open 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, and your ability to profit is only limited by how aggressive you are and how much you want it and how big of a bank you can bring to the table to bear. I mean, in real estate, you're going to buy commercial real estate, you put in 30% down. In the currency markets in the United States, you put 5% down. Where do you get, where else can you get 5% down money? If you want to buy a residential piece of property for yourself, you can get 5% down. If you're buying a residential property that you're going to use as an investment, you're going to be 20% down, if not 30. Probably 20%, and then if you're buying a 4-unit or an 8-unit or something like that, as I was doing later, you're going to be 30% down is what you're going to need. In real estate, doesn't matter your skill level, your intelligence, nothing. All you need is 5% to get in. You have to trade reasonably, not with the 200-to-1 leverage that a lot of these fools are telling you to do, and you can't be buying a Lamborghini just because you've got $400,000 in your account. I'm a millionaire, and I'm not going to buy a Lamborghini. Could I buy one? Well, yeah, but what good would that do? Why would I buy a depreciating or at least marginally appreciating asset when I could continue to work and make money and invest that into whatever other pursuit that I have that's out there? Why would I do that? I've known many guys who are coming up in the real estate market that were worth $5 and $10 million, and they weren't driving around in Lamborghinis. They were driving around in a really nice Mercedes, and they were writing them off for tax purposes and all that other kind of stuff. But they were using them for their work. When I worked as a mortgage broker for a while, doing second-tier financing for folks, and the guy that I was working with, he was a millionaire. He was driving around in a Jaguar, and he had a high-end Mercedes, and he had the money to warrant doing that, and he had the money coming in. He had the cash flow coming in. There are smart ways that you can use your money, and there are not so smart ways. But the main thing that Stanley Tigerman shared with me is first you have to find your passion. I have a lot of people that contact me with questions and stuff, and I'm happy to help you out. I have people that say that they want me to mentor them and work with them, and they send me emails, and I communicate back and forth with them. And I say the workload that I would give you is enormous. You have to be passionate about it, and it will be expensive for you to do. But once you get through that learning process, the act of trading currencies itself is very simple. I only have 3 trading rules that I work with. I lost $40,000 when I initially began trading currencies in 2018 or something with a large account. I did it as an academic exercise from 2007 until about 2012. Had a couple of mini accounts, flatlined on those, figured I needed more education. And so I sat on the sidelines from 2012 till 2018 doing computer simulations and watching these stupid videos and reading books. And it didn't do me any good because the education is wrong. I'm just here to tell you that the education is wrong. First of all, 99.9% of the folks out there really don't know what they're doing in the trading to start with, so their education is flawed right away. The folks that do know what they're doing and actually did make 6 figures or $1 million or whatever, 99.9% of them, and they did it legitimately, don't know how to teach it. They can't present the material correctly. And so that's where my consulting comes in, as I use my software engineering background. As I've talked about many times, the life cycle of a currency position is directly out of software engineering. The way that I go about problem solution is exactly the way that you do that when I'm teaching martial arts to a student. How do you overcome certain problems? What's the most important thing you need to learn how to do? Power dispersion theory, that's the most important thing. How do you, when you hit somebody, bang, how do you hit them hard with a lot of power? Because if you hit them soft, you can hit them 19 times, you're not going to do anything. And if you're going to go into the currency market, you got to know the key things, not everything. That's the problem. You're trying to learn everything. And you believe in indicators and patterns and all this other stuff. It's superfluous to trading. If you learn all those things, you'll only be able to apply them maybe to the stock market. They're certainly not valid in the currency markets, and there are many reasons for that. But then I tell that to people, and they don't believe me. And so I have to say, well, have you made $1 million yet? Do you really understand the flow? Do you really understand how things go together? Do you really understand problem solution? You can't get a much more problem solution career than a service-based business teaching martial arts, talking to people about taking martial arts. You can't get a much more complicated career than software engineering because of the fact that you need to be part technician, part fundamental person, part business person, understanding how to work with people, understanding how to digest complex problems and break them up into pieces that are easily solvable, and then hook those solutions together. You can't get a much more complex degree than physics and math because you got to be pretty smart to do that. But I know a lot of really smart people that got physics and math degrees that are unhappy in the common world that we live in. They don't relate to the to the real world. So you can be really smart in your math or your job or whatever it is you're doing. That doesn't mean you're going to be successful in currencies because you may not know how to solve the problems. You may not know how to organize things. So based on that experience, that's why I'm telling you that you might want to listen to me. I don't want everybody to listen to me because the solutions that I have aren't fit for everybody. There are a lot of people that do come to me that I'd love to try to help, that I'd love to work with, and yet they hesitate to make that step and say, I'm committed to wanting to learn the process, as opposed to folks that write me and say, hey, I'm having problems with X, Y, Z. How do I solve that problem? And then when I give them the solution for that, for no charge, because I'm not going to charge somebody if I can solve their problem in 5 minutes. If somebody wants the full solution to the problem, we're going to have to work together. It's going to cost you some money. But if you just have a problem, you say, this is going bad for me, what do I do? Do you know that 80% of the people that I work with, that I tell them to do that, I never hear from them again, or if I do hear from them, they couldn't make it work. And the reason they couldn't make it work is because they don't understand the fundamentals of the market that they're trading in. I'm happy to try to work with you over long periods of time. I've been in email conversations with some folks for 2 and 3 years, and they haven't paid me a dime. And I work with them. Because I have the time to do that, because I don't have a lot of people that want to study currencies seriously. They'd rather take somebody's $500 course and here's this to, and this to know, here's the bat fucking pattern, and use this indicator, and when the short MA crosses a long MA or Fibonacci shit, that's going to work for you. And statistically it will work for you a few times. And then when you put all your eggs into that one trade that depends on all those indicators to do what you thought they were going to do and they don't, and then you don't believe it, and the price is going against you, and you don't believe it, and the price is going further against you, and you don't believe it, but all of a sudden you flatline your account. And then you walk away from it. Currency trade, I've walked away from real estate. When I retired and was working and doing the currencies, I thought, well, I'm not going to buy any more real estate. This is crazy. I want to get out of real estate. I want to do the currencies. This makes so much more sense. And I've said many times, you go to my website, longwoodcurrencytrading.com. On the currency trading page, there's 7 reasons there why I think that the currency market is the market for you to consider, or why I consider it. I just did a video, I think it was my last video that I just did, why the 7 reasons why I trade the currencies and nothing else. So I left the real estate market, sold off my real estate portfolio, except the house here that I live in, that I paid cash for before I had sold my other house, because I had the money to do that. If you're listening to this video and you're not fully convinced that currencies can't solve that problem for you, listen to what I'm saying to you. They can. But not in the 90% of ways that you're looking at to do that are out there for you. It's going to be really, really difficult. Just like you couldn't learn how to be a land surveyor from a book. You're going to have a mentor. You're going to have a course to do that. And you would be willing to do that. You'd go to college for 4 years to learn restaurant management, to graduate with a degree in hospitality management. And you'd pay the 4-year in college degree. It's very strange that people who want to make $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year trading currencies to be able to retire and get away from their job are unwilling to pay somebody who knows what they're doing a couple of $1,000s for a course. And even those courses probably aren't structured logically. A certain percentage of people are going to be successful at anything, even if it's crazy. I was in the martial arts. I'm still in the martial arts. I'm over 55 years in the martial arts. And when I was actively teaching and working, we were going to tournaments. I knew everybody in the circuit. I knew what was going on with all these guys that were teaching martial arts. And most of them didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know how to teach. Their idea of teaching was just punching somebody and belittling them until they got so adamant they just stood there and took that abuse and learned it that way, the hard way. So I never taught it that way. I taught it in an educationally sound manner. I don't feel I had the right to yell and scream at you. I did yell at you to encourage the students, but I wasn't belittling anybody, and I didn't feel that I had the right to make you work hard. That was up to you. If you didn't want to work hard, you weren't going to be successful. If you wanted to work hard, these were the steps that you went through. And people's lives, I've saved people's lives as a result of that. I've had people contact me that studied with me 30 years ago. Say, I remember what you taught me. I'm teaching the same stuff now in the currency market, but it's not consumable by most folks because you've got so much crap out there you don't know who to listen to. And I've done a video on who do you trust? Who do you trust? One of the first videos that I did. And I'm at, I don't know, 320 videos or something like that right now that I've done. I think that it's very difficult for you as a consumer of information to determine the order to put that information in, or whether the person who's presenting that information is presenting it in the correct order that makes sense. I've got a degree in physics. I've got a degree in math. I understand the ordered process of learning stuff. I applied that process in software engineering, a 33-year career, making 6 figures. So I know how to do that. And I learned how to do that after I crashed and burned with that first account at $40,000. I took the remaining $5,000 I had in my account. I stepped back from everything and said, I'm going to apply what I know to this solution of this problem, not what these people out there are telling me is the way to do it. And I took courses and I talked to a lot of these people. I did what you're trying to do, and it didn't work, and I'm a pretty smart guy. And I stepped back from it, and in 15 minutes, I figured out what I did wrong and what I needed to do right. I wrote the 3 rules that I needed to follow down and broke the problem out into the life cycle of a currency position. I took that $5,000 and doubled it in about 4.5 months, and I've gone on from there. So I'm able to take the stuff that I know and apply it to this market and to be successful at it. And I'm an educator because I've taught martial arts for 55 years. I can teach it to you, but you got to be willing to do the work, and you have to be willing to listen, and you got to be willing to pay the price, and you got to be willing to take the time to do that. Why can't you be willing to take 3 months or maybe 6 months to learn a skill that you'll be able to use for the rest of your life and make $60,000 or $100,000 a year or $1 million net worth from it? Why aren't you willing to do that? If you're sitting there saying you're willing to do that, throw me an email and we'll talk about it. This isn't a sales pitch for me. It's a concern for you because I'm getting emails from you. I'm hearing what you have to say. I'm hearing your frustration. I get it. I was there. Send me an email. I'll be happy to get on a video conference with you and chat with you about this stuff because this could change your life. This market could change your life. And I'm not pitching you to take the coursework from me or whatever. I'll tell you what it's going to take for you to have a good course or an instructor. People used to come to me all the time to wonder about taking karate. This is the way you do karate. This is the way I do it. This is the information you have to have. Now, they might not have liked me, and I could tell that, and I go, you don't have to take the karate from me. But if you're going to take your 8-year-old son, or you at 55 years old, or you at 20, if you're going to go and go into these other, if you're going to shop around, which you should be doing, go talk to these people. They need to know this. They need to be able to do that. They need to ask them these questions. Don't take it from me. Go look at other people. I had a black belt karate student of mine, been with me for years and years and years, quit me because he couldn't stand the workload that I expected of black belt level students. He said he left. He went to everywhere else. I think he said he went to like 20 different martial arts schools, and not just ones in the area. I mean, he was going all the way down. I'm in New Hampshire. He was going down into Massachusetts. He owned a business, and so he was in 3 different states, and he went to almost everyone. He came back and he told me, you're a prick, and I can't study with you, but I'll tell you what, you know what you're talking about. You showed me what to do, and I didn't find anybody out there that knows how to teach martial arts like you do. So that's the guy that you want to be able to go to get help from in order to learn how to do these currency markets so that you can be successful. If you're young and you get into these markets And you've got time to make some mistakes to figure out on your own what not to do. I can accelerate that by showing you what to do, but you've got time to get in there. If you get a little bit of direction, and I can give you that direction to go get in there and what to do, you've got time to make those mistakes. If you're older, don't be afraid of these markets. Don't listen to what these people have to say. Make that decision up for yourself, but base it on real information, not the shit that you see that's out there. I've got folks that I've been emailing back and forth with. They don't want to pull the trigger. They want to go in and do the market, but they're afraid of losing their money. They have more of a fear of loss than they have of a want for gain, because they don't understand how to protect themselves from losing, which is easy. Either don't play or set your stop so low that you just get whacked out all the time. That's like playing poker and throwing your hand in and then folding your hand all the time. I want to teach you how to win, not how not to lose, because I solve the how not to lose problem right up front. Boom. That's number one rule. Then it's just trying to figure out entry analysis. So think about this stuff, and if you have any questions, please send me an email. I don't communicate on DMs. I don't have Facebook groups. I don't do any of that crap. Be sure that the website that you're going to is longwoodcurrencytrading.com. Be sure the email address that you're using is the email address that I put into my verified page, or that's on my website, longwoodcurrencytrading.com, that nobody's going to be able to change and call it that. Be sure that the O's aren't zeros. There are people out there that will try to scam you. So be sure, if you're going to go to somebody, that you're going to their actual site. You know, my friends, they're also doing videos in the currency market out there. We talk, and they all say, "Geez, people are impersonating me on the YouTube. They're copying my work and putting it up on another website that looks like me." Man, you just have to be so really careful. And now that we're into this whole AI problem about impersonating people and their voices, man, this is going to be really tough. If you're going to do this and learn from somebody, you better do it now before this AI thing takes over so much, and you just won't know what the hell's going on. Hey, I've talked long enough. I'm sorry. I need another cup of coffee, and you're tired of listening to me. I get it. Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Have a great day, and have a great trading day.